While coaching the women's soccer team at Rutgers University in 2010, we were preparing for a match at St. John's when we got devastating news from the Rutgers athletic department. It was October the 16th, and Eric LeGrand's life would change forever. Eric, a defensive lineman and special teams player for the football team, suffered a severe spinal cord injury during a game against Army at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. He was paralyzed from the neck down. From the moment he began his rehabilitation to now, Eric has dedicated his life to awareness and raising funds for spinal cord research and providing positive, uplifting messages for so many across the globe. He's been honored by the New Jersey Hall of Fame, the Jimmy V Award for Perseverance, WWE Warrior Award for their Hall of Fame. Fantastic. And in the fall of 2013, his number 52 was retired and is planted at the top of the football stadium. He formed a charity, Team LeGrand, of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, which led to the annual A Walk to Believe fundraiser entering its 10th year. But the first time it will be done remotely due to COVID-19. So let's bring him in. What a pleasure to welcome Eric LeGrand to On Frame. Hello, Eric.
Hey, what's going on, Coach? How you doing?
Just fine. Just fine. A Walk to Believe. So we're closing in on the June 6th date, but this year it's quite a unique situation for you. It's hashtag 52 for 52. So tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, so I was a little bit down in the dumps because, as you just mentioned, this is the 10-year anniversary coming up this year for my injury and then the walk as well. And we wanted to make it special. We wanted it to be right on Bush campus at Rutgers and do our regular 5K, but we were going to do it in the evening time, have a live band and fireworks, and just celebrate 10 years of fighting paralysis. But due to COVID-19, we had to cancel it. So I was down in the dumps for about a week, like, dang, why does this have to happen on the 10th year? But then we put our heads together and said, you know what? Let's make this actually bigger and better than we ever could have, and let's get more people involved. Let's try to get Eric, the refund said, Eric, your number was 52. Let's try to get all 50 states and the 2 U.S. territories, that's Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands, to participate and start a 52 for 52 challenge. And wow, we did it. We came up with a plan about 2 weeks ago about doing it. We put it out there, and the response has been insane. Family and friends calling people up in Alaska, Alabama, California, Mississippi, Montana. It's like, hey, I need you to participate this walk. It's kind of set up a challenge for everybody else too, not only myself.
Well, I noticed that if it's still the case, you tweeted out that Alaska and the U.S. Virgin Islands are the only 2 remaining to add up to 52. I have a high school friend in Alaska, so when we're done with this, I'm going to give him a call and make sure that either he or someone from that state signs up, so you're only 1 away. Hopefully that'll work.
Absolutely. I heard a few people had said that they were going to get Alaska, but I want confirmation. So if I'm getting confirmation that you're going to do it, Coach, go ahead and reach out to your friend and let's get them signed up for that 5K.
A Walk to Believe. What the word walk in there and the word believe in there are 2 things that kind of go hand in hand for you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, ever since my injury in October 16, 2010, doctors told me that I would never breathe on my own, never eat solid food, never walk again, never do this, never do that. You hear all these bad things. And right away, I had, positive vibes come to my room. So we came up with a motto, believe, like Coach Shiano, who was my coach at Rutgers at the time, and now he's back there, was saying, we have to believe that, Eric is in God's hands. Eric is going to be okay. He's going to get through this. And it's a funny story. Back in high school, before we would go out, our locker room above the door was a sign believe. And I always used to tap the EL. Never told anybody this story until the summer before my injury. I told my friend John Evans, I'm like, you remember that sign in our high school? Blah, blah, blah. We were just talking. Like, I always used to hit the EL like on the way out for Eric LeGrand. He was like, oh man, that's pretty cool, man. And after my injury, he told Coach Shiano that, and it just stuck. It's crazy how the world works, Believe the EL for Eric LeGrand and walk again. We're going to believe that Eric is going to walk again one day.
And well, that's something that believe was part of your high school ritual, and now it's become just the symbol of your belief that you will walk one day. You still believe that?
I truly do. The research that's been going on in the past 10 years since my injury is just tremendous. Like, where will we be in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, with the research that's going on with all the clinical trials? A lot of things that we're working on with the Reed Foundation is the epidural stimulator, where people are putting a stimulator into their spine. You get it, you put it on your spine, and you turn it on like a remote. And people are regaining back bowel function, bladder function, sensation throughout their body, standing up with walkers, taking a few steps. I'm like, this is incredible. Now, the more research that we do, we're going to see if it works for MS patients, spine bifida patients, and like I said, with spinal cord injuries, and it's just going to keep on enhancing. You just got to keep the funding coming so we can do those clinical trials.
And that's where A Walk to Believe comes in. We're with Eric LeGrand, who was paralyzed from the neck down on October the 16th, 2010, playing football for Rutgers University. He's still part of the Rutgers family, big time, as you can see behind him. There is his retired number 52. And, I'm just going to ask this quick. I'm not going to tell anybody what your email is, but it has the number 30 in it. What's that all about?
So before I got to college, I was number 30 in Pop Warner football and in high school, because my favorite team is the Denver Broncos, and my favorite player, which would turn me into a Denver Broncos fan all the way here in New Jersey, was the guy by the name of Terrell Davis, who was a running back there in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I remember being this 8-year-old kid watching him like, oh, I like him. I'm going to follow his team. Started following him and his team, and here I am, 21 years later, still a diehard Broncos fan, and I wore his number all the way up until I got to college. And I wanted to be like Ray Lewis when I got there, so I switched to number 52.
Ah, that's interesting. So Ray Lewis and Terrell Davis. You probably don't know this, but I am a University of Georgia graduate. So
you know, TD,
yes, I am a Bulldog. I also bleed scarlet red because I coached so long at Rutgers University on the women's soccer side. So I have a little of both there for you, for sure.
That's awesome. You know my guy there.
I want to go back to that day, Eric, and just tell the story. The day of the injury. I mean, there's ESPN did a wonderful retrospective on it a few years back. And there is video of you just before the game talking about being at MetLife and getting ready for the game against Army, so many thousands of people in the stands. And then late in the game at 17-17 and on a kick return special teams, that's when you suffered the injury. What do you remember about it? And what were your initial feelings as you were going to the hospital and you were preparing for surgery?
Yeah, a lot of times people ask me, do I black out? Do I remember it? And I said, no, I was fully coherent on what was going on. I remember running down that field. I made the tackle, and instantly I hit the ground. And the last thing I felt, man, was my heels hitting the ground. And from there, I remember trying to get up to celebrate with my team, but all I could do was barely shake my head like that. And my teammate, Deron Harmon, who plays for the New England Patriots, now he's on the Detroit Lions. I've been 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's sitting there looking down at me, trying to pick me up to celebrate, like he looks down like ready to get up. And he sees my eyes bulging out of my head, calls the trainers over. I get the trainers there, and they're like, Eric, is it your head or your neck? And at the time, all I could say was, I can't breathe, just like that. And they're like, can you feel this? Can you feel that? And I said, I can't breathe. And for everyone who's listening, if you ever got the wind knocked out of you, that's the exact feeling it felt like, but I also couldn't feel my body. So now Coach Yano comes out, and he looks down at me and says, E, you have to pray right now. When he said that to me, I thought my life was over because I can't move, I can't breathe. And now Coach is telling me to pray. At one point when I was laying there, I closed my eyes and I said, God, take me at ease. And as nothing happened, I just, opened my eyes back up, and they were now putting a board under me to lift me up to put me onto the cart. And when they lifted me up, somehow I caught a gasp of air for a second. So I said, okay, I just knocked the wind out of myself. I got a full body stinger. I'll be okay. Let me give a thumbs up to the crowd to let everyone I'll be all right. And they give a thumbs up to the crowd, and it just felt like the weight of the world was on my hand, man. I remember getting in an ambulance and putting the oxygen mask on. Put the oxygen mask on, thinking I was going to be able to take that deep breath in, like, and I went to take that deep breath in, and I still wasn't able to, exhale and push that air out, and I just blacked out. I blacked out.
Well, one of the great accomplishments early on for you is, which you found out later, that the doctors gave you a 0 to 5% chance of being able to breathe on your own again. And you started that process pretty early, didn't you?
Yeah, 5 weeks later, I was fully being able to breathe on my own after they told me I would never be able to breathe on my own. And then I had a feeding tube that was inside of my stomach as well, which was, forcing in all the nutrients that I needed at the time. But I was able to eat a full solid meal with my family that Thanksgiving. I got hurt on October 16th, so a month and a half later was Thanksgiving. I was able to eat a full solid meal with my family, and then from there, I had a Super Bowl party that year in 2011. I remember being in a room with some family and friends, and all of a sudden I started to lift my shoulder up just a little bit. To now, you see me, I'm moving, shaking, and dancing. So things started to come back for me, and that's what made me, give me the motivation. Say, they told me I want to do this, this, and that, but I am doing it. And it might be taking me some time to walk again, but the drive is still there, Coach. Still want to fight each and every day.
Eric, tell everybody how it must feel for you. So it was from the neck down, and then all of a sudden, and people just saw you, with the shoulder movement. You're not free. You can't get out of that wheelchair yet, but that's got to give you a sense of like, ooh, what does that feel like?
It's feeling amazing because, it makes me just realize you can control what you can control. You can work hard, you can grind, you can push, and everything else I just leave in God's hands. And look what has been able to come from this, this life. It was such a tragedy. No one would have faulted me if I would have gave up and just been miserable and hated everything. But I was 20 years old at the time, and I've always been a ball of energy and try to be the light in the room. And I said to myself, I'm going to try to make the best of this situation. And when I started gaining back, some movement, I said, okay, just keep on pushing and keep on pushing. And I've always been the type to never give up. And when I got hurt, you saw the response of all the people that started to support me. It made me take this on as a responsibility. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I got to fight. All these people are looking to me for inspiration, motivation. How can I give up on them?
I think, like anyone, you have, I'm sure, down days where it's just not going well. So what are some of the things that you do to bring you back up to the level that we see right now when you're talking to me?
I think when I get in down days, I just think about the people I've met throughout my time and people that are in less fortunate situations as me. And then I reflect on all the things that I have in my life. And it brings me right out of that funk. It's like, oh, I wish I could do that, but geez, I know my friend Ingrid, she can't even get out of her bed right now because she doesn't have a lift. Or she's a friend that can't get down out of an elevator because the elevator is broken in their place. Or some kid that's 25 years old doesn't have a house to go home to, so they put him in a nursing home. When you see stuff like this, or you think about other people's situations, it puts everything in perspective of how good you truly do have it. And it's like, all right, you may not be able to walk, and you don't have anything to complain about.
Well, one of the things, and I told you this before we started recording, my club team at PDA, one thing we've done is we've started grateful journals where you wake up in the morning and you put something down there that you're grateful for before you get on your phone or anything. And especially, Eric, during this COVID-19, there's been some tragedy. Obviously, there's been thousands of deaths. But sometimes there's that woe is me complex because things have changed so dramatically, right?
Yeah, absolutely. People look at their situation and you say, oh, I have it so bad. This is terrible for me. People are, like you said, dying on a daily basis. But, the human nature, we're going to think about ourselves and, the pleasures that we want in life. And sometimes, we're going to deal with some sort of adversity. And right now, the world is dealing with some sort of adversity, whether you're 5 years old, 65 years old. How you handle it ultimately defines you. How you handle these moments. How do? You sit there and you mope around and you pout about all the things that you missed or you can't do? Or you sit there and you take that time to reflect on all the great things that you have and let that propel you into the future for things that you want to do. And you make sure, like, especially in your situation with your soccer girls, what are they doing to get better right now? Yes, you might not be able to be together, but you can be kicking that. I read Carly Lloyd's book. You can be kicking that ball off that curve back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You could be doing different drills with, the head drills, work around cones. There's a lot of different individual soccer skills that you could be developing on your own that you guys have talked to. And instead of being, all mad and upset and sitting and laying on the couch or sleeping all day long and not doing anything, get up and better yourself. So when that opportunity does present itself again, your coach, as you will be, their trainer, like, wow, that person was working through quarantine. They were getting themselves better. They didn't waste their time feeling bad about themselves. And now look how much better they are and where they're going to go for their future.
As you said earlier, control what you can control. We're with Eric LeGrand. Follow him at Eric LeGrand 52, at A Walk to Believe. And we'll talk a little bit more about that soon. If you want to sign up, it's ChristopherReeve.org/AWTB. It's the hashtag 52 for 52 virtual Walk to Believe. But before we get back to that, Eric, you mentioned Carly Lloyd, you mentioned soccer. You also have an Eric LeGrand vlog. You've got a lot of episodes up there, so I want everybody to go subscribe. But recently, just a couple of months ago, before all this happened, you were at Red Bull Arena as the U.S. women's national team was preparing for the hashtag She Believes Cup. And there's that word believe again. And you were up for one of their training sessions. How was that day?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, you know, they become really good friends of mine over the years. I remember the first time I met them was back in 2012, or it was after the World Cup. It was either 2011, 2012. And I met them at Princeton University. I remember going down meeting Carly. She invited me to come out, and then Alex Morgan was on the team, Megan Rapinoe and all the girls. And ever since then, I've been able to develop a relationship and keep in touch with all those girls. And when I got to go see them out at the training session, you know, I was actually really awesome because I never got to see a full practice. And this was right, you know, leading up before the game, but they come out intense. I'll tell you that. They came out of that tunnel and they were ready to go, firing at each other. Kristen Press, all those girls. And afterwards, when I got to talk to them, because we hold, you know, professional athletes on, you know, such a high pedestal, you realize they're just people just like us. Being able to talk to them and share my story with them, those are the younger ones who didn't know who I was after talking with them coming up to me and just saying, wow, what an inspiration you are. I'm going to use you as motivation. Or seeing people like Julie. See, I remember when she was Julie Johnson, now she's Julie Ertz, you know, coming up to me and she goes, oh my God, Eric, I've been dying to meet you. I've seen so many videos of you and stuff like that. You know, you realize, like, you know, these people actually look up to you too. It's not, like I said, professional athletes, we hold them up on such a high level. Then I was going back and forth afterwards, talking with Megan Rapinoe, afterwards how she needed that little pick me up. And you see how a ball of energy Megan Rapinoe is and how she stands for what she believes in, but she also needs motivation here and there too. So, you know, it just feels good knowing that I can help them as they help me too for everything that they stand for.
The number of people you've impacted, Eric, that you don't even know. I mean, it must happen to you everywhere you go. And one thing I remember from that vlog there, I wrote it down. You when you were speaking to the team afterwards, you said, the definition I live by, my life by, is the definition of success. It's the peace of mind you get knowing you did everything you could to be the best you could be.
That was a definition that was embedded in our head by Coach Shiano. Every single day before team meetings, he used to always preach that. We would have to say it over and over. And we also told us trained behavior becomes instinct. It just became instinct to me. Wake up every day, the peace of mind you get, knowing you did everything you could to be the best you could be. When you go to bed at night, when you look in that mirror after you're done washing your face, brushing your teeth, do you know you gave it your all that day? You didn't waste an ounce of energy. You're the only one who can answer that question because you're the one who can say, yes, I really did, or no, I could have given a little bit more here. And if you did, then you can lay your head down on that pillow at night and sleep at it and say, you know what? I gave it my all. I did my best. And you wake up the next day, you do it over and over again. And watch how far you go.
I would imagine that has served you well in your condition as you try to improve every day.
It does, whether if it's therapy sessions, if it's in my motivational speaking, my sports broadcasting. I just adapted it to my life and everything I do, try to be the best I can be at it.
Eric, I've known you every step of the way and seen you, and I have to say, in front of the camera, you're very poised. You're experienced now. You're good, man. The Big Ten Network. I don't know what your doctors would say, but you should be a sideline reporter for the Big Ten Network. That's what I think.
I would love to, as long as I can get taken out by one of those big guys. I'm not as strong as I used to. They had me behind. But now, like I said, I've done this, you know, so many times now, and I just love being able to share my story to who I am. So the camera doesn't bother me at all.
Eric, I have to ask you, there has been and there have been some adjustments in the rules for kickoffs. Like they went from the 35-yard line, from the 30 to the 35, so there'd be more touchbacks and fewer returns. You look, the NFL has discussed it, college football, and a lot of it had to do with the injury that you sustained. What is your feeling about changing that rule? There's also been discussion of just eliminating kickoffs because of that.
Yeah, I don't want to eliminate the kickoff because people make their home on special teams, even in the NFL. Kickoff returners make a big time money if you can be a kickoff returner. And then guys make big plays on kickoff, and that's a huge momentum swing in the game. You run down that field, you make a big tackle, you give them bad field position, you set yourself up. Or if they opposite kickoff return. They break off a big kickoff return, and score a touchdown, get their offensive position. It's a huge time in the game where it's hard to just take that out and eliminate it. The XFL actually tried something different this year. They kicked it off and they had the guys in line 5 or 10 yards apart from each other instead of running down, from 50 yards apart from each other. And that was actually pretty interesting. And that'll be, something if the NFL, took it. I wouldn't be mad at it, but you can't eliminate it totally.
All right. That's, coming from someone who, suffered such a tragic moment in your life that you'd still like to see it go the route of where it's at right now for the players that are involved. Eric LeGrand with us. We are recording this, Eric, a day before Rutgers graduation, which my daughter, Morgan, is graduating, and they will not be filling the football stadium this year. It'll be done remotely. But you were the commencement speaker in 2014. You were a student speaker because you earned your degree in labor relations. So I've congratulated you before. I will now publicly congratulate you for that. What do you remember about that day and speaking in front of your fellow students?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to your daughter, because that's a huge accomplishment for her. And I know she doesn't get to have that exact feeling, but that still doesn't take away from everything that she just accomplished over the past 4 years. So congratulations to her. And yeah, wow, going up on that stage was special. There was 60,000 people, filter out there, and being able to share my story on overcoming adversity, going into the real world, not giving up, getting knocked down, but getting back up. I think it was special because those are all my peers, and they can hear it from somebody who was right around their age, but I got, dealt a card where I had to go through some adversity before they did. And if I was able to overcome it and still be able to appear and speak in front of all you, why can't you go out there and accomplish your dreams and the goals that you want to do?
And you're giving that speech in the football stadium that you played many games in, and if you looked up and to your left, there you saw the number 52. So there's so much going on there on that day, I would think.
Yeah, every time I get to go actually to that stadium and see that 52 is just crazy because I'm small, a kid from a small town, Avondale, New Jersey, just a regular suburban kid coming there, and now having my number being retired at the birthplace of college football and sharing like my speech and my message to them with that huge number looking down at me. It's just special. It's surreal that you can think about still.
Now, do I have this correct that when you get up out of that wheelchair and walk, that number will be released to the most deserving player with character and belief? Is that true?
Coach Flood came up with that. Well, we're going to have to talk. We'll have a conversation.
Okay.
No, maybe we'll do it for a special gig. I like to see my number up there.
I'm with you. Well, let's close by going back to A Walk to Believe, Eric, in its 10th season or 10th year. Its first virtually. Is it safe to say that this virtual, it's, again, hashtag 52 for 52, that's the 50 states and the Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, that you're only missing 2 as of this recording, Alaska and the Virgin Islands. Is it possible to say that you're reaching absolutely more people and will raise potentially more money this year than ever before?
It might happen. We were so blown away this past week. We tripled our numbers, and we had, going into Memorial Day weekend, we had 160 registers. We're now well over 600 people registered, and we still are a week away from today, and it's just going to keep on exploding. Let me tell you, we got people in Ireland, Italy, India, and Singapore signed up. Like, that's special. That's why we're realizing, this virtual thing may be a blessing in disguise because, we still need to keep the funds coming in, and now we're getting the entire country and the world involved because you don't have to be at Rutgers to do it. You can do it in your neighborhood. You can do it at your local park, at a track, whatever. But go out and sign up for A Walk to Believe at ChristopherReeve.org/AWTB and be part of something special and help us live Christopher Reeve's dream. And that's a world of empty wheelchairs.
And again, hashtag 52 for 52. I was thinking if you're going to go international, maybe you could get your Pop Warner League number 30 and do hashtag 30 for 30 and make that the international thing.
Hey, we get 30 states. I'm sorry. countries.
Yeah.
That would be pretty amazing. Maybe next year we'll try.
That's it. Next, maybe next year. Well, Eric, just to give everybody the understanding of how many people are in a position like yourself that are, looking forward to the research developing and maybe one day walking and doing things normally, at least more normally themselves. How many out there are there?
There are 5.6 million people in this country right now that are dealing with some sort of paralysis, and a lot of them don't have the same platform that I have, and a lot of them don't have the same hope that I have. This tragedy happens in their life, and a lot of them are sitting around, moping around, not knowing what to do, sitting in nursing homes, losing family members and friends and losing touch with them because it's just a terrible situation and it's not easy to get through. We have to continue to give them hope, continue to believe and have them find their purpose in life and know that people are working hard for them and believing that one day they'll be able to walk again or not have to have any sort of paralysis in their life.
Well, Eric, I feel so fortunate to have been able to present this in a public fashion. We've talked a lot, and I've always wanted to talk to you in this manner too, so you could tell your story. And I wish you all the best with A Walk to Believe and in your continued rehab and getting closer and closer. And you are an inspiration. And I probably just throw this out to a lot of people, but it pertains to you in particular. You are the man. You're the man.
Hey, Coach, that means a lot. I'm just being me. There's no front here. I am who I am. What you see is what you get.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric, and best of luck.
Thanks, Coach.